All right, what's up? My name is Joe. Whoops, sorry about that. My name is Joe. I talk on the internet, and I have some things on my mind and some things I kind of wanted to practice talking about. And this kind of stems from a really cool video I stumbled upon involving this political streamer by the name of Vosh. For those of you who don't know who Vosh is, he's just a Twitch streamer who practices talking on the internet like me. And he went on the Young Turks to discuss why young men feel alienated in the United States. And something that I think is like kind of important for people to really understand is that Twitch streamers are grooming you. And I know I'm going to make a really fancy, fun title about this. Because usually when people talk about groomers, they think about children. And I'm not in the business of talking about how Twitch streamers are grooming your kids. I think that what they are doing is they're not doing the kind of grooming of sexual exploitation. And maybe they are, who the fuck knows? But they are doing the grooming and making you consume politics the same way they do. And that's gotta stop because these streamers, the Voshes of the world, they don't have healthy political diets and they don't move in a way that's politically healthy. And you, as a consumer, can watch Vosh and enjoy Vosh. This isn't necessarily a vindication of Vosh, the individual. It's more a vindication of Vosh as a political diet and his political diet, because his political diet is terrible. And most people's political diets are terrible. And this sort of came to mind for me to kind of like shed a little bit of light upon for people, or for a few things. I'm reading a book about political hobbyism and reading studies about political hobbyism, ways people are engaging in politics. I've also been trying to just figure out like how to do a better job at diversing my political diet and the way that I move, because I think for a lot of people their political diets consist of mainstream news, federal like nationwide stories, and whatever their favorite broadcasters are talking about. So, and here's an example of a shitty diet, a shitty political diet. And you might be able to do some introspection for yourself here if you'd like. A shitty political diet would consist of watching mainstream news while also participating in voting and exclusively voting in your like your big national elections, and then just reading the news. I think that's a poor political diet. um there's a lot of people who have those kind of diets. Their diet consists of watching CNN or reading NPR, whatever have you, while also only voting during the general, and then maybe watching a handful of political commentators, maybe even niggas like Vosh, and then that's all you do. That's all you do in your navigation. And something that can happen if you're not careful is that the people that you watch, especially Twitch streamers, are going to feed into your poor political diet because they also have poor political diets. So when you're watching a Vosh cover mainstream stories and mainstream things, you are also going to, because you want to pay attention to what your favorite streamer might talk about, is also consume political media and content in the same way that they are. So you're only going to care about the things that your favorite streamer are going to consume. And again, they're not consuming it because they want to like they're not consuming content in a way, and some streamers say this outright, and if any streamer tells you this, they're lying to you, is that I want to consume content and do things in such a way so that you feel emboldened to do things as well. And what they're really trying to do is they're grooming you to move the same way they move. they're not grooming you so that you can have a diverse political diet of activism and advocacy. They are grooming you to move in a political landscape the same way they do. And that's it. Um, what you should be paying attention to is your own political diet and diversifying your political diet. So, what type of things are you doing and things, the ways that you're moving politically are, I guess the question I'm trying to ask here is your political diet healthy and diverse? And a lot of people's political diets are not healthy and diverse, including Vosh. So Vosh's poor political diet is a byproduct of like a larger problem, but you can't fall into the trap of wanting to pay attention to your favorite streamers so you consume the same way they do, because the way that they do is unhealthy and you're already probably moving politically in an unhealthy manner. So you can watch Voshes and stuff like that and laugh at what they're doing and enjoy in the mutual exchange of watching him practice talking and getting money by doing it, but you can't let their shitty navigation be your political diet and the diet that you should strive to be. You should have a diverse level of advocacy and moving that yields and utilizes political power. Something that a group that I've been paying attention to that I think is doing a fantastic job of a diverse political diet is Moms for Liberty. They are a sort of pseudo libertarian slash PRA, parental rights advocates, and they are one of the largest parental rights organizations in the entire country. And they yield political power. Some shitty tweets that make no sense. Like 76% of the 270 candidates endorsed by Moms for Liberty were first-time candidates. But then also later, did you know 272 Moms for Liberty school board candidates won their elections this year? And these tweets are a month apart. So there's different types of questions that we got to ask in terms of their PR campaign, because their PR campaign might be playing with the numbers here. But either way, however you look at this is political power, and they have a political apparatus that's moving in such a way that allows them to utilize the market. I hate the word market, but basically the market of what exists politically. Like, they have parents who are moving in a way that's influencing elections and influencing politicians, because that's where the power's at, right? So not every single Mom for Liberty individual is running for office, but they are trying to expand their political apparatus and their political arm in such a way where they have organizations and chapters everywhere, and their people are in the places that matters. They spread their propaganda on Fox News. They spread their propaganda online. They spread their propaganda among local circles that have different politics that are separate from the federal nationwide conversation. We can say, sure, that they also have a political axe to grind, and they're also sort of part of the mainstream conversation about parental rights, but they're moving at the local level in such a way that is something that we ought to recognize as an actual organization and a group of people that are utilizing political power. And Twitch streamers aren't doing that. They're not utilizing political power in a manner that's actually productive. Now, is it fun content? Sure. I mean, you're not making quote unquote content that you think is fun if you don't have stupid thumbnails like Greta versus Tate arrested, gay porn vibe. This man made 5 videos in a row about Andrew Tate on his main channel. And like the thing that's important to recognize is when you have a poor political diet and you watch content like this and you really like ascribe and enjoy content like this, you're going to start falling into the same trap of consuming content the same way that they do, because nothing about this is politically consistent. it's just it's not, there's nothing politically consistent about this that lets you inform who Vosh is politically, what he wants people to do politically, move politically, and he's not using like any type of like political power, using his audience in a means of political power. He's using it to fill up his bank account. And listen, like if you want to fill up your bank account, you want to fill up my bank account, you can do that at Cash App and other things. It's going to be down in the description. But the thing that I want people to kind of recognize is the fact that Twitch streamers are in fact grooming you into having the same political diets as they do. And my plea is for you to diversify your political diets and move things in a different way. Now, I understand that in an online landscape, it's very tricky to have an outward expression of your political diet. Like if somebody were to ask me like, Joe, what are you doing to have a diverse political diet? I'm probably not going to answer you, because the trap and one of the problems, I don't want to say it's a trap, but it is an issue, is that I don't want people knowing about my personal business, and my personal business is my own. But I'm 100% sure, for example, there are ways that I can express my political diet in a way that's a lot more clear to people who are watching me. And that's something that I think Twitch streamers could do. If there's like a way of like moving in a different manner, is that they can move in such a way that shows that their diet is diverse. So that could be things like covering topics that you directly care about and exposing people to topics that you directly care about and having consistent content around that. Consistent diversity of the content around that issue. For example, when it comes to like, I'll give one example that's really kind of vague. Like my politics right now, like within my local community, is around warehouses, and it's an uphill battle, and it's something that's kind of like frustrating in different ways. But that's something that I care about within my own community. And there's a bunch of things that you can care about within your own community, and paying attention to those local politics and being active within your local politics is important. Because for a lot of the ways, and one of the reasons why Moms for Liberty is crushing it right now, is because they're moving in a political landscape that people should already be doing. They should be participating in local politics. They should be touting candidates for school boards and stuff like that. Like this should be something like we got to normalize, like having these type of political W's. 5 seats out of 8 seats in Charleston County School Board. So they have a majority of school board members who value parental rights, and they vetted those candidates so that they know that these are people that support that. And then if they move in a manner that's against that, they're going to be held account, because Moms for Liberty will just replace them. And maybe because I didn't really kind of walk into this with a script, this might be a little bit kind of left and right and miscombobbled. But to reiterate what I'm trying to say is that don't consume content the same way that your favorite Twitch streamer does when they're talking about politics. A lot of them, for reasons of laziness or privacy, are not going to go that deep into things that affect them locally, and then talking in a way that's sort of about their local politics and what they locally, when I'm saying locally, internally feel passionate about. They're going to fall into the trap of covering whatever's in sort of the mainstream political cycle, and it's going to just be the same circle of them just covering things locally, and maybe a couple dabbles into some quote unquote pop culture things that might be loud enough. But for the most part, like this content that Vosh is putting up on his channel, I'm sure it's funny stuff to watch, and some of it I participate in because some of it is funny, but by and large, this is an unhealthy political diet. And this is not the diet that I think you should ascribe yourself to be in. You should have ways of moving politically that don't include watching your favorite Twitch streamer and voting. And listen, if you are one of those people who only participate in politics by voting every general, you're a waste of time and a waste of energy. And the reason why you're a waste of time and waste of energy is because your diet is wasteful. So diversify what you consume and do. Look for local organizations that support what you support and help them in whatever ways you have the time to. Participate in the local community surveys about different sentiments of your communities and things that like you might be passionate about that intersect in those type of surveys. Find candidates that actually reflect your wants, needs, and desires, and help them however you see appropriate, whether it be monetarily or through actual like canvassing or what have you. Interact in different sort of like community conversations about these things. So actually going to the coffee meetups that these local organizations have about these issues. Find chapters of the things that you care about within your community. I think that like being obsessed and self-absorbed in your own political identity and diversifying your consumption based upon that is a good place to start, in my opinion. I think that there is an over obsession with keeping up to beat with like what's going on federally. Like everybody will know like the Mueller report, but nobody will read nobody will read a bill in their own area about something that directly affects them, or showing up to council meetings, or even reading council meetings minutes. Like, you know, everything that's going on in the latest like court report or whatever the fuck, or you'll read like the arrest warrant on stream for Andrew Tate, or even read it on your own time, but then you don't even know like the things that you've never read a council minutes, like a school, like whether it be a school board or a township council minutes in your entire life. You have no idea what's going on in your local community, and they put that shit online. They don't even like try to hide it from you. And you like it's kind of crazy to me. And it's lazy, right? Like this is all like ways of diversing your political diet have been in front of your face and in front of our faces for quite some time. I think it's very easy to consume politics in a way that is a very like nutritionally deficient, but I think there are ways that we can, like, first is like recognizing that you are out of shape, and recognizing you are out of shape politically, right? That's like the first step. And from there, you go, okay, what are some ways that, like, knowing that I am unhealthy politically, what are some ways that I can like diversify my diet? And it's like, all right, well, what part of your diet is insufficient? If it's in your news reading, and it's like, okay, all I do is watch CNN. Pay attention to whatever CNN, MSNBC, and the likes, Fox News are talking about. So why don't I just, you know, subscribe to my local news apparatus and listen to and read that. That's something that's like very easy. Like the money that some of you give to Vosh, you can just give to your local newspaper. Like, and that's a better and listen, like Vosh is in a relationship to keep this shit free. So you can still watch Vosh and do all these things. Just give your money to local news so that you can read the news there. And that way, every time like you get charged automatically for your like whatever, how much subscription Vosh is like asking you to give to him, you can give it to something that's actually going to like help you be more informed about the world around you, the direct world around you. That's a good first step, right? Stop giving money to Twitch streamers. Like, and also, and then it's like, oh, but Twitch streamers, they need the money for their lives. Like, cool, though. There's plenty of other people who are politically unhealthy, who are going to give money to that, and that doesn't have to be you. You let all those other people do that patronage, and you can do patronage in a way that you can survive and be healthy in a post Vosh landscape, in a post Destiny landscape, in a post I don't know, other Twitch streamers that politically talk, maybe Xander Hall, I don't know. But yeah, just moving in a way that is healthy for you in the long term. And if you have resources, utilize them in a different way that diversifies your diet. So like one way that I just mentioned is, instead of giving your money to 5 or 6 Twitch streamers, give it to local newspapers so you have access to their stories about the things around you, because they do great work. Listening to local radio, as weird as that may sound, is one way of doing that. Like, for what it's worth, in my car radio is broken, but you can get my local news station 101.5 anywhere across my state. So that's like something that I, through happenstance, through other reasons, do, but I would still listen to them regardless. That's another way of like diversifying your just content consumption. When it comes to like moving politically, the things I was kind of mentioning a little bit earlier in this is like talking to members of a community, and talking to members of a community in the environments that they are open and willing to talk about politics. So like some organizations do different types of meetups once or twice a week, to just like talk about what's going on in the area, being involved in that. If you can't go to your local school board meetings or your town council meetings, read the minutes and pay attention to what's going on in that, because that's where your money's going tax wise. Finding organizations in your area that are advocating for the things that you are also passionate about. So when you have like not only your own personal like endeavors and exploration, you have an outward way of expressing that. Then also helping those same organizations that you feel strongly about, in whatever way you think is appropriate and adequate. Like, these are all things that you can do, which are very, very sort of straightforward and simple. Because these organizations need help, and they need you and whatever your political identity is. Yeah, it's just it's wild to me how so many people just start consuming the same political diets and eating the same sort of political candy that these content creators do. And I just think it's unhealthy. And I'm somebody who is I guess you would say, a Twitch streamer, and I'm just a nigga recognizing that this shit is unhealthy. Like, Vosh doesn't give a shit about the left being out of touch with young men. It's like he's learning what feminism is in real time. But what we can do is recognize that, hey, this is unhealthy. I don't want to do the same thing that they are doing by being politically fat and unhealthy, and then diversifying that and having a nutritious political diet that can exist separate of these content creators. I can still watch them and laugh at their learning about feminism in real time and intersectional feminism in real time, but I'm not going to fall into the trap of consuming things the same way they do. Because again, it's their job. It's like, this is part of his job. His job is to go on the Young Turks and pretend like he cares about young men and boys. But you could be someone, if you do care about young men and boys, and move in such a way that reflects that part of your political identity. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Don't let Twitch streamers groom you, okay? And listen, it's gonna be all right. Like, diversifying your political diet is hard. I'm still doing that every day when it comes to international politics. I'm very dog shit on international politics. I've been putting my head in the sand when it comes to these issues. But like, my level, like something that I'm doing personally is like recognizing, okay, the way I handle international politics and foreign policy is unhealthy. So I need to like recognize that it's unhealthy and use the tools that in my toolkit to have a healthier foreign policy and international politics political diet. But anyway, yeah, don't Twitch streamers groom you, okay? And politics are hard, and having a political identity can be kind of challenging and scary. But you know, hey, sometimes you need a little bit of discomfort, and then you start hitting the gym and eating healthy. You know what I'm saying? All right, that's all I got for now. I hope you have a great rest of your week. I'm gonna try to do these like little yippity apps in a more consistent way. So yeah, I'll see you soon.